Hello, and welcome to the Funnyfarm Pod. Today you got me, Charlie. We've also got Chris, who's stuck in the middle of my screen at the moment. He'll probably be somewhere else when this gets put out. And we've also got our guest today, who is Tim Mulviel. Have I pronounced that right? Have I, Tim?
Great, Charlie. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Tim is an ex-teacher, so he's had loads of holidays. And
Far too many.
and a writer. Tim, do you wanna tell us about yourself, your background, where you come from? I know you come from that strange part. Go on, we'll go on about that. You tell us about yourself, and I'll come back into that in a minute.
From the northwest, the one of the centre of the world at one stage. Yeah, so I was ran the gamut really. I went to college late. I was late 20s and became a college lecturer in performing arts, and then I wanted a new challenge, and I became a secondary teacher in drama and English, and went all the way through that. Taught more English, and then when lockdown came, I thought, I think I've had enough now, like a lot of people. And I looked at and I thought, the governments are going to have to chuck a lot of money at this now. So tuition is going to be a thing. So I went into tuition for a few years, loved it. And no politics, no, screaming kids. And I loved that. So, but then unfortunately, I fell ill about 3 years ago. Better now, a lot better. And I just said, right, that's it. Took it as early retirement, which is fine. And then I fell into, that's why I'm called the accidental writer, because I kind of fell into it. I've always been into comedy, grew up with some of the, watching some of the greats. Particularly I was into radio comedy, still am. And when I got the chance to write for a friend's show, which is a rock show, he wanted some kind of comedy inserts because, like me, he just loves comedy. He's a very funny guy, and it's kind of snowballed. And it's an internet radio show, but recently we've had some news that he's going to be picked up by a proper radio station on FM. So I've got some writing to do there, but with Ofcom down my neck, so I can't slip in too many swearies. So I've got a couple of projects there, and got to do a lot of self-editing and just sort of like watch my P's and Q's. But that's all in development at the moment. So that's where I am.
Obviously, it's a slightly different angle for me, because obviously I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
On and off 15 years, but more off than on, and I've kind of just come back to it in the last year or so. And like that, who's your biggest influence when it comes to like writing comedy? What's your kind of shtick? Where are you at? Is it the oldies, or Seinfeld, that kind of stuff, or is it like more the new? What's your kind of inspiration?
Yeah, I can sort of pick out lots of different influences. Morecambe and Wise, absolutely fantastic. The timing on Eric Morecambe. If I had to choose, with a gun to my head or whatever, and say you've got to pick one, it would be Spike Milligan. He was my absolute hero. I started to not just his comedy, his outlook on life. It's interesting. His background with mental illness, and he wrote a lot of nonsense, and he said, well, sometimes when the world makes too much sense or not enough sense, sometimes, well, that helps. But I like a lot of the old stuff, Hancock and the Goons, but I've looked at Monty Python recently and thought it's a bit dated now, but I spent a lot of time
going on though, isn't it, at the moment? There's we've talked about it on the pod a few times where like the Gen Z have gone on and looked at like Only Fools and Horses, for example, and come back and said it's misogynistic, it's racist, and all this, that, and the other. It's of a time, in my opinion, and if it's funny, it's funny. That's my view on life. I mean, you look at like the likes of Eric Sykes, Spike Milligan, Hancock, Tony Hancock, stuff like that. in my opinion, I mean, it's a little bit before my time. I'm 46 now, so it's a little bit before my time. But I remember like watching stuff. I can always remember watching like the Man About the House film, and Spike Milligan pops up in it. Can you remember that? Where he pops up and gives them directions. He's like, you go down there, you turn left, then you turn left again, and you turn left again, and you turn left again, and then you'll be right back where you started from. And it's just class. It's like just brilliant stuff. Bit before my time, as I say, but like I was brought up on all that kind of stuff. I mean, we were brought up on the Carry On films, like that. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, some of them were shit, weren't they? But some of them were good.
Yeah.
What's going on? You know, you're into like radio comedy. Was Michael Bentine one of them? Michael Bentine?
He was with the Goons originally, and kind of did a peak best of comedy. He dropped out before they became really big because he wanted to do other stuff. And that's when they really took off in the 50s after Bentine left.
He was older than back.
For about 51. Well, I don't think it was a bit of a mess at the beginning, and then other producers took over, like Peter Eaton, and started to put some kind of structure to the show rather than it just be complete anarchy, post-war.
I vaguely remember when I was younger a thing called Michael Bentine's Potty Time, which was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts. I seem to remember there was these little figures bouncing on the TV screen and a load of voices. That's what I can remember from it.
Sure, that went Heart Attack.
No. Charlie's not sort of like going up on when he is absolutely right. He didn't imagine that. It was crazy. The 70s. I think there was a lot of people who had sort of taken things in the late 60s, and it started to come out in the 70s.
If you don't mind me saying, if you don't mind me saying, Tim, you don't look old enough to remember all this stuff. To be honest,
I kind of got it secondhand. I'm 63, but I didn't really come to it until when I was sort of early 20s. I watched. A lot changed when I started. When I bought myself a video recorder, and you could watch things back and go back and watch them again and again, and and start to notice things, and a kind of analytical brain. And then the 80s. I missed the Young Ones the first time round, but really got into things like Saturday Live and Ben Elton.
I watched the Young Ones a couple of years ago and watched a couple of them, but I didn't think that aged really well, the Young Ones.
No.
I think Bottom did. Bottom's brilliant. I love Bottom.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the Younger Ones, it hasn't aged well. It hasn't aged well at all. It was
Funny
good at the time.
It's funny you should say that, Charlie, because I'm just reading Ben Elton's autobiography at the moment, and we just got beyond the stage of the Young Ones and his creative differences with like Rick and Lisa Mayer. Said he went in and this has happened. His Mike the Cool Person's completely different to how he planned it, and so there was a lot of things that just didn't work in his kind of way. So.
I don't remember much about the Young Ones. I remember Bottom better.
Yeah.
One of the things I can remember about the Young Ones was there was an episode where they got Neil in a bin bag and started hammering nails into him and stuff like that. It was very. I like the bit. What's that stuff where they put needles in you? What's that Chinese thing?
Acupuncture, yeah.
Acupuncture, that's right. They did acupuncture on Neil with 6-inch nails. That was a funny one. Yeah.
It was pure as cold.
It was called Sick, that episode, wasn't it? It was actually called Sick.
Yeah. I think my favourite Bottom one was the Christmas one, where they find the baby on the doorstep, and suddenly one of them's got a box of Terry's All Gold. One of them's got like a model of Frankenstein, and somebody's got aftershave called Grr. Gold Frankenstein. Grr. And he doesn't have the tea towel on his head. He looks like the Virgin Mary or something. Yeah,
he does.
He was brilliant. Yeah, I saw Rick Mail live about 1990, and it was just a whirlwind. It was just fantastic. the way he dealt with the heckler, and he just owned the place. Yeah, sadly missed.
What about modern day? What kind of what's your go to stand up or at the moment?
Stand up. I mean, I like a lot of the new people because I do follow a lot of them around. There's one guy who's called Marcus Birdman, and you
Yeah,
may have seen him. His delivery and his timing is superb, and some of the stuff he comes out with, I'm just in awe of some of the stuff he does.
I
Hope you're
gig
watching
with
Mark.
Marcus. I've only
Yeah,
ever gigged with him once.
yeah,
I gigged with him in Belper, I think it was,
yeah,
which is like Midlands. Um, he opened and then he went off to close another one, but he was absolutely class.
yeah,
Absolute class, yeah, brilliant.
yeah.
Yeah, he had
When I
like
got, mm,
opening's the hardest spot. If you know much about comedy, like going on first is the hardest one, and
oh yeah, yeah,
and he went on and just literally within seconds he had him in the palm of his hand.
good.
Lovely guy as well, lovely guy.
Yeah, yeah. I started going to the Edinburgh Fringe about 20 years ago when it was still the Fringe rather than the tail wagging the dog. And I mean, it's all corporate now. You'll have to speak to Stuart Lee about Edinburgh Fringe and how he views it now. But so I got to see a lot of people who, in this little tiny room. I mean, I saw Sarah Millican on a stage no bigger than a kitchen table, and she
Yeah,
was fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah, she's massive now, isn't she?
yeah, yeah.
You always ask me who my favourite comedian is. You know what? And it's so hard because I mean, I think I said Sean Locke, didn't I, last week or the week before?
Oh,
I said Sean Locke.
class, absolute
Yeah.
class.
yeah,
Well, you know what? I mean, I was thinking about the things you think about in bed of a night. Billy Connolly. I love Billy Connolly. I think Billy Connolly is amazing. And just like his shows that he's had on going around Australia, and I think I read his book. It was called something in Windswept, Grey Old and Windswept or something. It's latest autobiography. I read that a couple of years ago. Really interesting. Really
Billy
interesting
Connolly
guy.
is just an absolute class act, but it's really sad because is it Parkinson's or
Yeah.
Alzheimer's that he's got now?
Parkinson.
It's really,
you know,
really, really sad.
Parkinson's, but he was in an airport. He was, and some guy, some specialist come over to him and said, "Listen, I'm a doctor, and just by your gate, go and get checked out when you get home. Just go to your doctors and get checked out." And he went to the doctors, and it turns out he had Parkinson's.
Wow.
Yeah, quite easy.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it? I think stuff like that when you see like Rick Mail, Sean Locke, it's like it's almost like a part of yourself goes, isn't it? It's like when those people you think I'm never going to hear these guys doing what. Like obviously, Billy Connolly's still around, isn't he? He's not passed away, but he's not the guy that he used to be. I mean, there was a documentary, and I think he presented himself really well on that. But like he's not because when you see him on stage back in the day, he was just like you said about Rick Mail, he was just complete whirlwind. He was just so good at the art. It is really sad when stuff like that happens. It like hits me a little bit. When Sean Locke passed away,
yeah,
I cried a little bit. To be fair, it
yeah,
was like gutting, absolutely gutting.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was. I've been watching the 15 Stories High again. There's my friend's brother's the guy who plays his flatmate, and yeah, he said just wonderful working with him. But I don't. You probably know about this, Chris, being sort of like a stand-up, and they say like you turn up at gigs and comedians just kind of did their own thing. But when Sean Locke was on, the other comedians on the gig actually came out and watched him, and
Yeah,
said,
I mean, I always. I mean, I'm not. I'm a beginner. Like I've been doing it a
yeah,
long time, but I had a lot of time off, so I'm back to like kind of climbing the ladder again and I'm getting some opening spots and the odd closing small places. But like last night I went and did a gig in Leek, which is hour and 15 minutes away, and I did like a 10-minute spot in the middle. So I went and watched the acts. We all sat and watched the opener, and then I watched Dawn, who was on after me. I didn't stay for the headliner, but I'd seen him before, David Eagle. Crack it. If you get a chance to see David Eagle, he's really good. He's a blind act, but he plays an accordion. He's really, really good.
I noticed you were on with Jack. Sorry, you noticed you were on with Jack Gledo. Was that?
Jack actually, I don't know why, but he was replaced, so he didn't do the gig in the end. So David Eagle closed it. Yeah, and then Phil Walker opened. So Phil Walker's Roy Walker's son.
Right. Yes.
That's really excellent.
Excellent.
Yeah, just like, you know, master of the art. Really good, really good. But yeah, it's like I think if you're like me coming up, I think it's always good to stay and, if you can, stay and watch the closers and the big acts. I'd obviously seen David before, so I left because it was an hour and 20 minutes home. So, you know, obviously you're not getting home till quite late. But yeah, I think there's definitely like once you get to a certain level, there's definitely, you notice that the opener. I mean, the opener. So Phil last night, they were both doubling. So David opened somewhere else, came and closed. And then Phil opened ours and went and closed the same gig that David opened. So that tends to happen where the promoters do that, get a deal with. So it gives the acts a little bit more money. But if it's not like that, you tend to find that a lot of openers will come open the night and then they'll go. So they'll go on the break. But yeah, you do find it that, like, you know, if you've got somebody on the bill that is, you know, renowned or whatever, then people will stay and watch it. And Sean Locke, yeah, I mean, I'd imagine everybody who was on the bill with him would stay and watch, because I just loved it. I just loved his comedy, just how surreal it was.
Yeah, I mean, so that's zany type of stuff. Johnny Vegas is a bit like that, isn't he?
Johnny Vegas is magic to watch. I've seen him a few times. I love Johnny Vegas. Absolute, well, fuck it. I mean, people I've said before, people have said I look like him. I wish I was half as funny as him. And he's so quick-witted. But
he's fast, isn't he?
Before I started in comedy, because he was, I don't know if you know Just the Tonic. It's a club that started in Nottingham. They've got places all over now, and it's a great. I did a middle for them not so long back. Great club. I did the Leicester one, but they were the kind of Daryl Martin, who owns Just the Tonic. He was the one who kind of broke, I think, Johnny Vegas onto the circuit years and years ago. And when I first started watching comedy before I became a comedian, so going back probably 20 years, me and Jane went and saw Johnny Vegas close. Well, he was actually MCing, and the guy who was headlining was a guy called, his name was Wes Zacharuk. He was a Canadian, zany comedian. He had bowling balls and everything on the stage, and Johnny Vegas came on to close the night off and tripped over one of these bowling balls and fell over, and then promptly got up and did another half an hour. If you ever go and watch Johnny Vegas, you're not going home early. He just and it's a pleasure to stay into it when you've got someone like that. But I have seen him a couple of times, seen him a few times, and if he's on the piss, you can tell if he's had a few beers. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was Ken Dodd, wasn't it? Like he'd gone for like 2 hours. You know, you'd go and see Ken Dodd, and you'd miss your bus home. It was that 2 or 3 hours. You don't tend to find that. There's some acts out there that, you know, it's just, for me, it's just do as much as you like. It's a joy to watch. Have you heard of Scott Bennett?
No, I haven't. No.
If you get to see Scott Bennett, he's a Midlands act, but he's fantastic. He's touring 2 shows at the minute. And one of the promoters I was talking to said, like, every time he comes and does a spot, there'll be at least 15 minutes of new material that he'll do.
Yeah.
And like, if I went and did 15 minutes of new material, I'd probably be able to keep about 3 minutes of it at the most. Whereas his is like, it's like his new material is better than my tried and tested. And he's quite. I gigged for someone recently, and they said, yeah, we had Scott last week. He did an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So there are still acts like that out there, but yeah, it's there's some class out there, isn't there? So you were a teacher previous to writing, then, Tim, but drama. So you've always been interested in the arts? Then have you trod the boards yourself?
I did a bit of stage bothering when I was a lot younger. Probably that's how I met my wife. Actually, I'd just finished doing my degree in lit and theatre, and this guy rang me up and said, "Would you like to come down and read against this lady, because we've got this play on and we're thinking of cancelling it because the main character's dropped out." He said he can't do it, so it's just left us in the lurch, and then remembered you because you've been away. I said I'll come back and read against this woman, and we got cast and we stayed friends, and then we've been married 28 years now. So that was meant to be. So yeah, it's a good story. That is, yeah, I did a nude scene in that. It's 30 years ago and a lot slimmer.
That's why she wanted to marry you.
She was the only person and I never saw her. I'm by stage, I can't see anything. So, anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah, loved it.
I've we never had John. Our school. I mean, I went to a school in Liverpool, and obviously, and we had quite professional pantomimes every Christmas, which I got into. I spoke about this on the pod before, that I wanted to get into stage lighting and and sound and that, and I never got there. But that's why I sort of like brush with drama. I wasn't very good at it. I mean, I never got into acting or anything like that, but I liked all the behind the scenes stuff, all the techie stuff that I like. But yeah, unfortunately, that dream I never caught.
It's never too late, mate. It's never too late.
Yeah, when I was younger, I had a lot of confidence. I did quite a lot of stuff. I did Bouncers, the John Godber. I did quite a lot of stuff in Bolton and surrounding areas, just because I wanted to build my confidence. And then I went to study it and just lost interest. After that, they actually analysing it, and I just lost interest. And then I didn't do anything for 21 years, and then 8 years ago, a friend asked me to be in a play in the Edinburgh Fringe. However, for clean lyrics, we don't bother about clean lyrics, do we? We can swear.
No. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
swear, mate,
yeah. It was fucking shit.
If we clip that bit, mate, it will come out fugging.
Fugging.
But yeah, we fucking swear all the time, mate. I call Charlie a cunt on a regular basis on the pod, mate.
And I call Chris a twat.
Yeah.
All right.
It's loving. It's in a loving manner.
We've got to do it. Yeah.
I do get what you mean, because I've started doing a bit of acting myself, and I love it. I adore doing it. It's great. We're doing I'm part of a acting community in Nottingham, the Actors Workshop, and we're studying. We did a bit of Meisner. And we're studying Stella Adler at the moment, so we're kind of going into the theory of it, like Stanislavski and all that kind of stuff. So it's quite interesting, but I can understand, like, if you have 2-3 years just solidly studying theory, you're gonna get fed up with it, aren't you? I suppose.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. It was, it just got. I want to get up and be funny. I don't want it. Just, I want to entertain, and I don't want to sort of like look at psychoanalyzing it. And So yeah, that kind of
How do
spoils
you
it
get
for me.
into your mode? How do you pick
Yeah,
the universe around you and get into
yeah,
that bit?
yeah,
We do loads of improv as well.
yeah. I
Uh,
love it.
I love improv. It's like, I mean,
Mm,
I love all. I mean, I'm really interested in screen acting rather than stage, but
yeah,
I love the improv. It's just say the first thing that comes into your head. Don't worry about it. Go big or fuck off home. It's great. It's just like go for it, and it's ace. If you get a good partner
yeah.
and you bounce off each other, it's class improv. It really is, and as long as there's not many rules, is there? But if you can kind of
Um,
just do that affirmation and just keep moving. And I like did an improv course a few years back because I wanted to help. I wanted it to help me with my comedy because when you start MCing and doing the comparing role, you know, you're talking to the crowd and it's very much off the cuff and stuff. And you know, first rule is don't try to be funny, but often stuff does come out. It's good.
I always when I sort of like taught improv classes, I said, okay, we're not too many rules. There's only 3 rules. Offer something, that person accepts it, which means you have to listen to it. And the third rule is don't block it. If they say, "Oh, look at that cat over there," they don't say what cat or whatever. You know. Sorry,
There's
I'm
no
sure
cat there.
there's no cat there. What? You know. All right
Yeah, it's the
then.
yes and thing, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Makes sense.
it's the
It
whole
makes sense.
yes and theory, isn't it? So you don't have to physically say yes and, but you
Yeah.
basically accept and then you affirm it by moving it on and you don't block your partner. But interestingly enough, we did like an exercise where another Tim who runs the Actors Workshop, he kind of went, right, what I want you to do, Chris, is block. So you just go in and just block everything that your partner says. So I did, and what you do find is that it's incredibly hard to block. You know, you've got to go big, or you can't
Yeah.
block anything. You know, if you're doing a scene about, you know, and it's a husband and wife in a supermarket, you've literally got to shout at the top of your voice, "There's fucking aliens attacking us over there," or something like wild and totally off the cuff. Otherwise, and even if you do that, your
Yeah.
partner can still take it and move with it. So it is incredibly hard, but yeah, yeah. So you state something, accept it, and then and move it forward. But it's really good for when you talk to people in the crowd when you're doing the comedy side, you know.
Yeah.
And it is amazing because often, you know, if an audience member or your partner does try to block you, then what you have to then do is come out with something which invariably brings the laughter. So it's good,
Yeah.
good, cool.
So,
So,
somebody shouts in the. Sorry, go on. I was just about
I
to
was
say
going to say,
somebody
Nick,
shouting about aliens. Sorry. Come on. Sorry. I was
you
accepting
saw
what Chris
Palmer
was
then,
giving
too.
to me.
he's accepting my alien call.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I got,
And it's
you know,
yeah,
I'm
and
easily
I've set the
confused.
scene in Weatherspoons now because there's somebody shouting about aliens. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Often when I
Sorry,
have 10 pints of Guinness Zero, I start to see aliens. So it's all right.
what's in this stuff? Sorry, Charlie. I was
No,
jumping
no,
in
no
there.
worries. I was just saying that you went on to teach as well, didn't you? Teach drama. You know, you were
Yeah,
for 20 years. You were saying.
yeah. I was. I I say I was teaching in FE and sixth form college. So one or two have gone on. Say who was one of my students. He's in Coronation Street now. I think he's still there. He's called Andy Wymans. Called talks like that. It's called Kirk.
Oh,
I
no,
don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow. Was it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. Absolutely
what's the...
fantastic singer. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. He's done a bit of singing, a bit of crooning.
yeah.
there was a
Um,
quiz on the other
yeah.
day, and it was him and Alan Halsall who were on. I can't remember what the quiz was though. It was that one where is it Lingo where you've got like
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he was on. Hello, Kirk. Brilliant. Yeah.
yeah. Oh yes, yeah. It was always had a professional attitude. I did a Shakespeare play, and he turned up first rehearsal, knew all his lines, just learned them. So, you know, just gives this impression that he's just some git from Salford, but, you know, he wanted it. He was the one who made a success of himself. Anyway, from there, I did a graduate training, which it was when schools were saying, okay, you've been teaching, but not in high schools. And if you come in and teach, we can put you on a course to learn to be a teacher. So it was like being a student teacher, but doing the job. Of course, what they didn't say is that after 6 months, you'll be the head of department because 2 people are going off on maternity leave. And so that was a baptism of fire.
I know.
What was your dream when you were a kid? I love asking this question.
Do you know, I didn't really have one, Chris. It was, my parents weren't that ambitious, really. It was get a job. That was it. You know, that was the thing.
First job?
First job was stacking shelves in Tesco. When I left school, because I needed to get a job, because that's what you did. And I was just dead end jobs. Then I got a job working as a salesman and for wholesale footwear, and that was good in the 80s. Recession came, and I'd got into drama then. I thought, right, well, I was married before, and I just put my wife through college, and then she got a job and put me through college, and then we split up. We kind of like just got start that very amicable. But yeah, I had to do it all myself, really. I got into reading when I was about 20, and I thought, well, if nobody else is going to do it. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Only in that, I won't go into the other area, but tell Alan Partridge, I've been pubic since I was 40. Yeah. I don't do impressions.
Chris does a crack of Michael Jackson. But anyway.
Only the voice. I don't children.
No.
We have our opinions on this. Like, my missus is like, he's Michael Jackson. I don't know how we've gone to Michael Jackson, but it's Charlie. He always does a bit of this. Michael Jackson is a paedophile, in my opinion, and he is in Charlie's opinion. What's your opinion on Michael Jackson, Tim? My missus thinks he's not.
I watched your clip before, and you were talking about Michael Jackson. I thought, oh, fucking hell, I hope they don't ask me about Michael Jackson.
Enough said, we'll move on.
No, yeah, I can see where you're coming from there, Chris. Yeah, sorry, he called you pedo then. No, it's...
I'm not a pedo. Impressions of them.
You might wear speedos, but that's about it.
To Mr. Cigar.
Sorry, yeah, he's definitely a messer. Yes.
Yeah, let's move on, shall we? So
you live in that weird place, don't you? Go close to that weird place that everybody calls Bury, but it's pronounced Berry. But everybody who lives there calls it Bury.
Yeah.
What's all that about, Tim?
I don't know. People have always said, "Oh,
or...
I don't know. No. I just happened to be born in the town, so yeah, I grew up watching the football team, and that was it really. So yeah.
I don't know how they get Bury from it. It is Bury, isn't it? We were saying this
Bury.
before.
You know, when you die, what happens to you if you want to go in the ground? You get buried. You don't get buried.
I don't know whether you've ever been to Gig Lane, but it's the cemetery is right next door. In fact, one of the stands is called the cemetery end. So, yeah, Bury Cemetery right next to Gig Lane. I was down there for the first time in like 30 years last year, and told one of the guys selling the programs, and he just looked at me and went, "Welcome home." Like that. I was like,
Would that welcome home? Would that like welcome home to the ground or to the graveyard?
Crematorium in the graveyard. Come to
Oh,
me. This is where you belong, Tim.
yeah.
Come from
Did he
you
have
to
a
my
big cape and a big sign?
Oh yeah, I grew up the old blokes there going, oh, that lot next door would do better than this shower of shite. So,
Yeah, Berry is
yeah,
Berry, isn't it?
yeah, I don't know because I've just grown up close to it. It's always been Bury, you know.
It's always been Berry. But it's like
Bury, yeah,
Sean Bean, isn't it? It's like Sean
yeah.
Bean. It's
She's,
either Sean Bourne or Sean Bean. It can't be both. Can't be Sean
oh, it's
Bean, Sean Bean or Sean Bourne. I like
Sean.
Sean Bourne personally. I've seen loads of Bean, but I prefer Sean Bourne. Anyway, that's enough of that nonsense. So, as you know, we were chatting before before the pod, Tim. You know, me and Charlie have both suffered with our mental health, and one of the reasons that we set this podcast up, we like to have a laugh, and it's like a therapy session for us, isn't it, Charlie?
Yeah.
We
Oh God, yeah.
mention it quite a bit, and we're doing daily pods at the moment, like so 5 days a week at the minute, and it does help keep you focused and keep yourself going. And you know, we've suffered our issues and everything like that, and you know, one of the things that you said that kind of drew you towards coming and doing a guest appearance with us was that you've obviously suffered with your own mental health. Do you want to kind of give us a bit of obviously go into as much or as little detail as you like
Yeah,
on your experiences with mental health? It will help someone out there, I'm sure of it.
it was anxiety. I think we'd we'd all gone through it, some kind of anxiety, whatever. We all live with it day to day, and you know we have coping strategies. But when it becomes just too much, and you do crack, and what they used to call a nervous breakdown, it happened, and it was because I've looked back when I sort of like became a qualified teacher, then applied for a job, and then I was a newly qualified teacher, and I went straight into being a head of department. Which great on the CV, you know, lots of pats on the back and whatever, yeah, top of the class and all that. But I was, you know, just out of my depths. It's that thing they call the Peter principle, like Burnley in the Premiership. You know, they're good at this level, but put them at that level and they struggle. You know, they've met their kind of, and that was me. I'd met my sort of like level, and I tried to reach too far, and I was just being asked to do too much, and I couldn't cope, and it just,
But
you know,
my wife says, I mean, my degree's in psychology, so
right,
it does. The reason I did that was I went back as a mature student, and I think I went back and did a psychology degree so I could try and understand my own mind. And I certainly resonate with that. And it's like you have like a resistance bucket, don't you? My wife talks about it. She's had a bit, you know, we've had a few issues family wise. Put a lot of stress on the family over
yeah,
the last few years, and it's caused a little bit of PTSD with myself and Jane. And it's that resistance bucket that you've got. Everybody's got like everybody's got like a breaking point, haven't they? Where just that one little thing will send you over the edge. And I think it often happens like that. You've got like when I was going through my first like depression, and I've discussed this on pod a number of times. I think my anxiety, depression goes right back to when I was a young child, but it was kind of came to a head when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, 21 year old. And yeah, it was it was like the straw that broke the camel's back at that time.
yeah,
And I think I went through a breakup with a lass, and that just did it. And in the grand scheme of things, it was fuck all. It's not affected my life whatsoever. It was she was disgusting. She was a toxic person, and it was good that we broke up. But that sort of tipped me over the edge. And it is like literally that anxiety, and like I've packed up drinking, as you know,
yeah,
I'm a connoisseur of the Guinness Zero now, like yourself, Tim. And yeah, I find going to the pub now incredibly hard. Like that, it's something I've got to work through, but I find it incredibly hard, anxiety-wise. Sorry, carry on.
That was basically it, really. It was. I got through that, and I gave up the job and went for something else. Realised that that was beyond me, and I was again. You mentioned the word toxic, and I was in a school that was a toxic environment, and that is not healthy for anybody. When it comes from the top, right from the head, and who creates this toxic environment, nobody, and the students know it, and they participate, and it's just people, whispering to each other and whatever. There's just nothing to look forward to, because it's just this horrible poisoned chalice.
If you
So yeah,
if you're
yeah,
suffering with anxiety,
yeah,
I don't know. I think it probably goes hand in hand, doesn't it? That paranoia
yeah,
kicks in as well. So
yeah,
you've got the anxiety. I don't want to be there. I don't want to. I'm really suffering, and like I think anxiety can be absolutely paralysing. So at Coke Zero, that bit of gas, and then you've got people tit tatting about everybody behind the backs and stuff, and it just that I've
you don't
worked in
need that,
places
do you?
like that as well, and
Yeah.
it just
yeah,
breeds paranoia and anxiety. It's disgusting, but people are just human, aren't they? They're not like, I don't think people do stuff on purpose. I'm a big believer that people just
Oh
do
no.
stuff because it's there, isn't it? It's just there.
Yeah, and a lot of people just follow other people, don't they?
Yeah,
You just start off a little conversation about having a little bit of gossip about somebody, and then,
yeah,
you know, the next minute, everybody's talking about it. It's just like a natural thing, isn't it? It's a natural thing to do. But I think sometimes the people just took a step backwards and thought, what the fuck am I doing? And looked at yourself in a different light. You'd realise, we all do. I know I do. I've spread all sorts of rumours around where I live about about different people because I like having a laugh about it. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to go into them. Not going to go into them.
but it is human nature, and it comes back to like political correctness, which we were talking about the other day, and the new kind of way that everything offends somebody, doesn't it? That's
oh
not
yeah,
new. That's not new. That's been there forever. Calling it woke or whatever culture you're calling it nowadays, it's always been there. That and it's like we've said on here a number of times. Just don't be a dick. Don't go out to try and upset people. Just be that person that can. We all have our views and we're all entitled to our opinions, but just don't be a dick about it. Don't go out to upset and offend people. And guess what? You won't. It's
no, that's
quite
that's
simple.
right. Yeah, it's funny because one of the about 18 months ago, started reading Buddhist texts and whatever. And I thought, what's all this about Buddhism? I didn't sort of like shave my head and start wearing orange, but I was just interested in reading the text. And I'm thinking,
I'm a Christian.
yeah, sort of like, not stepping on ants, that sort of thing. So I
Because
just,
Charlie looks like one, doesn't he?
yeah, Buddhists do not say fuck off. They say go in peace.
Bug
So
off.
yeah, yeah. But,
Yeah.
but reading these texts, and it's basically what you said, Chris. It says, live your life, let other people live their life, and don't be a dick. So I started. I'm a complete twat now, but I was back then. I was following it, and it just. I think I'm a lot calmer a person nowadays because I've been through this. I've analysed and just thought everything's happened for a reason, and I'm here now. Life's not perfect, but you know, um, nothing surprises me. But
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
just
We're
don't
all
be.
learning every day, aren't we?
Yeah,
We all learn.
yeah, yeah,
We all learn. We all
Yeah,
move
it's Paul
forward.
who says he can't learn anymore. isn't it? It's always
Yeah.
that person. But yeah, really interesting what you say there, because
Mm.
I remember like when we were kids, like my mum and dad were never religious in any way, shape or form. My dad said that he just liked to live his life in a moral manner. So you know
Yeah.
what's right, you know what's wrong, and don't cross the line. It's as simple as that. And I think we get up on stage every night, and I think I go on stage and I say what I think is funny, and that means that you might not find it funny, and if you don't find it funny, that's fine. There's no
Mm.
problem with that. I don't go out to offend anybody. I don't go out. I'm not. I'm not. I do dark. I do dark material. I swear. I do sexual material. I talk about my family. I talk about I talk about alcoholism on stage and my ailments from that. I don't go out to upset anybody. But anything that I say on that stage could trigger somebody, and it's hard because when there's so many different things that can trigger you. I don't particularly think I get triggered by very much at all. Stuff that's happened in my past, you can talk about it. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
No.
I've had these issues and worked through these issues with therapy. Number of different times I've been to therapy, and I've got like defense mechanisms built in now. I think that just don't. I can listen to. Charlie calls me a cunt every day, twat every day. It don't bother me.
That's
It's like
because you basically are.
because I
Yeah.
am. It's
Yeah.
and he don't get
I mean, I
offended
think
when I
it's
call him
just
slaphead.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
does
mean,
get
that post,
offended by that.
we put a post out on TikTok this morning, and it was a clip, wasn't it, about the Tony Blair.
Yeah,
And we were chatting about Tony Blair on the pod last week, I think it was, or earlier on the week. And we were just going on about Tony Blair. He should come back as Prime Minister or whatever. And we've had a lot of love for that post, but we've had a lot of people just commenting saying, "Oh, he's a sick bastard, Tony Blair. What do you want him back for? You two haven't got a brain cell between you." And it's quite funny. It's like it's like I was going to say it's like one side and another. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just two different levels.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You,
Because
yeah.
but people have their opinions, and that's what's great. Everybody can have their opinions, and people do have their opinions, and people like to voice their opinions, and people just like to give you a heart. And I think social media, shows that as well. People do like to get on their keyboards and have a rant, and we call them keyboard warriors.
You're right, Charlie, because if what you say, if you actually thought about it and you actually took on board all these people, you would create such an anxiety for yourself, thinking, "Oh shit, am I offending these?" If I have a rule when I'm writing, do I find it funny? Will my friend Scott find it funny? Yes. Anybody else who finds it funny it's a bonus. But you can't sort of like go, "Oh, well, what if so and so in such a place doesn't find this funny?" Well, bollocks to it, because you'd never get anything done if you just took it all on board. You'd be so anxious about it.
you can't
You
please
can't,
all of
you
the
can't,
people
especially as
all
a
the time.
writer. You can't do
Exactly.
that, can
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah, it's interesting. That Blair thing was quite interesting because, it's obviously a contentious issue at the moment, politically, isn't it? Like with what's going on in the world and what's going on at home. Everything seems to be going right, doesn't it? Everything the
Yeah.
world seems to be going right wing, and it's quite scary with all these leaders that are tilting that way. And all that me and Charlie were kind of saying was that, like, we've both said that the Labour Party need to do something. They need to, and I basically said we need to bring Tony Blair back. We both basically said that we'd have liked it if Andy Burnham had have got back
Oh
in
yeah.
the party and given a challenge to
Yeah.
Keir Starmer. But then people jump on board, don't they? Because my opinion is that Blair was good in many ways, and then the whole Iraq thing was they basically judged him wholeheartedly on that, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him to start with, and his charisma and the way that he carried himself and some of the policy that they put through. But that's just our opinion, and everyone's allowed their own opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally, I personally can't think of anything worse than a Green government. But other people are going to go. Other people are going to go. Well, I'd rather have a Green government than anything else in the world. So
I'm a little uncomfortable with when they're talking about drugs and and legalization and thinking, really, I can see in an ideal world that this would happen, but for God's sake, you invite. Is it an invite to get people addicted, or I don't know?
Free drug, though, isn't it? It was like
Yeah.
talking. I think it's in their manifesto or whatever that they would legalise Class A drugs.
Yeah.
Who?
Green. Yeah.
No. Really?
Yeah, Google it, mate. Honestly, I'm not joking. We should do some. We should do some research on this and do it on the pod, mate. Go through the manifestos. The Green Party, I think, was saying like stuff like that. So legalisation of drugs, obviously climate change and all that stuff to be top of the list. Open the borders, kind of thing. So. Whatever. I mean, I'm not right wing, but I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form.
No.
I mean, arguably, you could say that that was the start of the border thing was down to Tony Blair, but he welcomed a lot of immigrants in. But there's got to be a sensible management of that. I don't know why we've gone. It's my fault. This going into politics, isn't it?
Anyway, Tim, you're obviously an avid listener, aren't you, of the pod? Have you got any more questions to ask Chris before I take over for a couple of minutes?
You go.
Right.
No, I've got just. Oh.
I always ask the guests this, and this is where they always shit themselves.
All right.
So, have you seen any of our features?
Do
Do you know about the Funny Farm Showdown?
I do. I thought, well, I'm not going to go in blind. I want to, know who you are. But then again, I'm not going to go in to sort of like analysing every single pod you've done. So I've been I've been dipping in and out. So I've come. Yeah.
That's fine. No, it's just that we are now about to play the Funny Farm Showdown.
Oh right, okay.
Hang on. You got to wait for the jingle. Let me get it.
He's waiting with bated breath.
Are you ready? Oh, he's still on
Guinness
a zero.
10:54.
It's 0.
Right. Okay. Hang on. I asked me sure I got the right one here. I've never ever prepared on this. Right, here we go. Welcome to the Funny Farm. The lads are back causing harm, talking shite but full of charm. It's the Funny Farm Showdown. And welcome to this week's Funny Farm Showdown. And today's category is animals most likely to be a writer.
I think pigs.
All right.
Okay. Did you message Tim before?
No.
Because the pigs,
Pigs, 100% pigs.
No, they say, right, they get together in the farm and say, right, that fucking George Orwell was a twat. We're going to get our own back. Okay? We've got a bad press.
1984.
How would the pig write it down?
He would get one of the more dexterous animals on the farm to write it down.
Which one would that be?
Well, the farmer likes to collect some kind of exotic animals, so he's got. I know he's got a macaque, so he's got a few sort of like primates who can just about manage a pen and whatever.
Allow primates in this. Because I chose monkey and Joe.
Oh, we've got rules now, right? Okay.
Anything that stops your answer being a good one, Charlie will go, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No. If it's got arms, no.
Well, my cat likes to walk across my keyboard, so eventually it's going to type. So it might type something out. Yeah.
But anyway, pig.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Pig. Yeah.
That is a good answer. Yeah, and I do like the reference to George Orwell. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
What are you going for? Monkey? You going for monkey, are you?
I think pigs are good.
Pigs, yeah.
Because they're clever, aren't they? Pigs aren't pigs like pound for pound meant to be the most intelligent animal on the planet?
I'm not sure. I know they can get suntan.
It's an incredibly good stalling tactic. This is.
They can get a suntan.
Yeah, their skin. If you leave them out in the sun, they can get a suntan. Yeah, this is stalling tactic.
I'm going for a parrot because they can talk. So they would be able to dictate to a human what to write or type on the page. And also, if they got in front of the laptop, they could nod it.
Yeah.
Like that, you see. So, I'm going parrot.
I don't know what the jokes would be like. There'd be a lot of parrot-based jokes, wouldn't there?
A lot of poly-related marriage.
Jokes, pirate jokes.
Three pirates went into a pub.
Can I have the bill?
Very good.
Plumage on that.
I think Tim's got this. I just think that
I knew he would have, mate. I knew he wouldn't let me win. Since the rules changed, I've not won a game, but I won a lot before.
See, I didn't know there were rules. Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
You did great. You did great. Right,
Yes.
what I'm interested.
Can I just say, just before we move on, Tim, don't be slotting that into your mate's radio show, by the way. The jingle and all that. Don't be slotting.
Charlie is. You know, if your mate Scott, who's got the radio station and everything that you're writing for, and you could give that a bit of a plug in a minute. If they need any jingles writing, then you can have a word with Charlie because he might know someone.
Or if he wants his washing machine fixing.
He's a good plumber. Do you go as far as Bury?
It's not too far from where I am, actually, so it's not too bad.
Liverpool, are you, Charlie? Yeah. Are you red or blue?
No, I'm Chester, actually.
Oh, right.
I'm red. I'm a red.
All right.
Yeah. All my family are blue. But we moved out to Chester, just a little bit outside Chester, a couple of years, about 8 years ago.
Gone posh, mate. That's what it is. Gone posh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tim. The BODMAS problem. Come on.
Right. Okay. So, my stepdaughter Helen, she took a few days on this, and she got back to me and got it here. She suggested that. Where are we? And it says, by the way, it's BIDMAS now.
Indices, isn't it? Not orders when we were kids.
And she says, I've been thinking about this again, and I still think it's deliberately ambiguous. But I would solve it as 26.
Minus 26.
Yeah. Glad you had your boiler fit. Oh, no, that's a different one.
Charlie came round and fixed it for me.
Yeah. My one, I thought, I've got an online beef with a guy who uses BIDMAS on this. I want to slam dunk him before I appear on his podcast next week. I've got Mum and Dr. Mel from up the road working on it too. But yeah, she says she thinks you're playing a little bit of a naughty game and that you've made it ambiguous because there's no brackets, there is no indices, and then there's no division. So next we go with multiplication, which is 4 by 8, which is 32. Where are we then? And then we go with addition, which is 2. So we're 34. And then we have to go back, but there's no brackets in it. So
this is the thing. So this is my understanding of it, and
right.
My daughter's studying A-level maths, so she's using it quite a bit, and my other daughter's got an A-level and that. And my younger daughter is genius.
Right.
She's. I won't go into detail, but she's got issues. But she's like educationally massively good. So the bit about it is, so your B, I or O, D and M you do, and I think the division and the multiplication are basically whether it's left to right. But so in this problem you've got your multiplication, which is the first thing that you solve. And I remember when I was at school, if you wanted to make the problem, so you simplify the problem by putting brackets round the multiplication. So you do that first, that equals 32. But once you've done that, addition and subtraction are of equal value. So you go left to right. So it's the subtraction first, is it? And then the addition at the end. So it becomes, I can't remember what the numbers were. Was it 2 minus or 4 minus 32 plus 2 or something, wasn't it? So it works out. I got 30 to begin with, so I did it exactly the same way. But then I went back and when I thought about it, I thought I'm pretty sure, and then I checked it with a couple of people. But yeah, it's not my problem. I just forwarded it on. I literally just put it on there to get some base on it, really.
I've got another stuff. Can I just, while I've got her, this is my neighbour and friend Mel. She sent me this newspaper cutting, which basically said when she was lecturing in Australia, she reported a guy for sort of like inappropriate behaviour towards another person, and it got put into the system, and it wasn't the first time. So she had to write a document about it. But the upshot is that her name is now mentioned 38 times in the Epstein files. So she said, yeah, she's like, I can't do what she said. It's the first time I've ever been killed with all my kids. Yeah. So yeah, she's I've got she Epstein and how she reported this professor, and that's he got noticed, and she's given an interview. So she's given an interview about into a paper and a podcast about why her name is, in a good way, mentioned in 38 times in the Epstein files. So yeah.
Be an interesting
We'd have to do a midnight one, wouldn't we, for someone in Australia?
Yeah.
No, she only lives next door, so she calls herself an immigrant. So.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, she's an Aussie, the mad Aussie.
Well, that's been an hour gone just like that.
I know, it's flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, we try and keep them to 45 minutes to an hour, but that's literally just been an effortless chat, mate. And thank you ever so much for coming on. Is there anything that you want to plug?
So interesting.
You can contact me on Facebook. I've only just set it up, but I've called myself the Accidental Writer, Tim Mulviel. There is a email there, and you can message me on that. Other socials will probably follow, but I'm just getting the gist of it, and I'm just getting it set up. I know, Chris, you're on. You were my first follower, so a creative Guinness Zero is winging its way to you now.
Yeah, and you'll have to come back on. We'll have to get you back on, and then you can tell us how everything's going.
I'd love to. Love to, Charlie. It'd be great. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah. If you need any help with any joke writing and stuff, mate, I'd happily have a chat with you and stuff. If you need anything extra or anything like that, probably not. You're more than capable, but I've never written for other people before. I've done a bit of roast writing and stuff like that, but not really anything other than I've never written for radio or anything like that. But if you're ever struggling with a topic that you want something, just drop me a line. I'll help. I'm happy to help out.
couple of things in development. So I've been sort of like trying to get some ideas. My friend Neil Desai he's an actor who did some stand-up comedy and writing. He's very good like that. So yeah, but I'd like to get other opinions. That'd be great to do that, Chris. Excellent. Right.
Thank you ever
Don't
so much.
forget, you need your washing
Thanks very
machine
much
sorted.
indeed, chaps. And it's been a pleasure. I look forward to it. All right.
When he fixes your washing machine, as it's going
Yeah.
round on the spin, it goes, "Welcome to the funny farm, the lads are here, the funny farm, roll up John, the funny farm, showdown," and then it's done. It's brill. He's, on our normal ones, every now and then he just sets the moo off as well, which always, I'm like that. He's like, he does this big moo thing. It's terrible. Anyway, right, thank you, Tim. Fantastic.
Cheers.
As always, Charlie. Lovely.
Thanks a lot, guys. Right.
And just quickly before we go, so if you want to contact us, if you want to come on as a guest like Tim, or if you just want to give us any stuff that you want us to do or talk about,
Or swear at us.
Want to swear at us, call us thick and stuff like that, you can do that online, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok. Join us on Facebook. We are just gone over the 500 followers mark. Our next aim is 1 million. So help us to get there. But please write to us on hello@funnyfarmpod.co.uk. If you want to get early access to these episodes and you want the extra exclusive Patreon episodes, that's patreon.com/funnyfarmpod. Have I missed anything, Chazzle Twitch?
No, we're all in there. We're all done.
Excellent. We'll see you next time. Thank you ever so much, guys.
Peace,
See you later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye now. Bye.